So that's it. It's official. There are no more questions and no red lines. According to Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, any and all Xbox games are now open to go anywhere and everywhere, at least according to this article from Bloomberg today by Dina Bass, titled Microsoft's Gaming Chief is Still Open to Acquisitions After Activision Deal. So we're going to talk about this article, read through it together, and then see what we can kind of surmise from everything. Hey everybody, it's Bobby here with Direct Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about this article from Bloomberg about how Xbox has no red lines in terms of their gaming and they're open to more acquisitions. If you enjoy these discussions and these read-throughs, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. That is a great free way to support what we do here. So getting right into the article, after a tough year, Microsoft Corp's video game chief is still looking at acquisitions and charting how to compete and partner in the markets for handheld game devices and mobile stores. Deals that add geographic diversity, including in Asia, might be worthwhile, Phil Spencer said in an interview Tuesday at Bloomberg's offices in New York. Buying another mobile company would add to titles Microsoft picked up in its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year, he said. We definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, we absolutely will keep our heads up, Spencer said. Still, there's nothing imminent, and very large deals are probably off the table at present as the company is spending a lot of time absorbing Activision Blizzard employees, he said. So for me, this is where I want to stop. First, it sounds like Phil is open to pursuing more acquisitions in the future, and I think we all knew that, but I do not think that we're going to see anything big. We've seen a lot of people say recently, oh, they're going to acquire Sega, they're going to acquire Capcom, Square, Take-Two. A lot of that rumor mill has been flying, on the internet. I think those are going to be way out of their grasp right now. I think they're really going to kind of focus on getting Activision Blizzard really integrated fully into Xbox and make sure that that's actually starting to be profitable for them before doing anything else with any sort of publisher acquisitions. Let's not forget, aside from the $69 billion Activision Blizzard acquisition, they had the $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax, which is where they got Bethesda. So if there's going to be any kind of acquisitions in the near future, I'd say within the next probably 4 or 5 years, I would say you're going to be looking at small studios or maybe mobile companies that they work with to try and grow their market there. It sounds like they are pivoting a lot of energy to get mobile off the ground, and I know they have been talking about their mobile store for a while, and I believe that is mentioned later in this article, so let's read on. Microsoft wants to diversify the teams working on games by looking more to China, he said. The company developed a new mobile version of Age of Empires, a world-building franchise that first appeared in the 1990s, by partnering with Tencent Holdings Limited. Microsoft and Tencent released the game globally in October. It's been a good area for us to learn from creative teams that have real unique capabilities, Spencer said. The real opportunity is to partner with creative teams in China for global. Now here's another place where I want to stop because Xbox has been angling to get a bigger chunk of the worldwide market for quite a while. They've been really aiming in the last year or so at getting into Japan more heavily. Unfortunately, we've seen with sales numbers and stuff, at least with their hardware and kind of with their software as well, that's not really working out for them so far. But hopefully if they can get in good with Tencent and partner with that, maybe get that Xbox logo on some good games coming out of Tencent, they might have a shot of building their brand over in China, which would be very, very good for them business-wise. Okay, so reading on. The executive, who has repeatedly professed his admiration for handheld gaming devices, said the, quote, expectation is that we would do something, end quote, in that category. Although the company is working on prototypes and considering what it might do, Spencer also asked his group to look at the market and develop its vision based on what it learns. Such a device is a few years out, he said. So we have seen a lot of people who are Xbox leakers and things like that claiming that there was going to be something revealed in 2025 in terms of a handheld. We've even seen big names such as Destin Legary saying things like that. And now Phil Spencer is revealing that that's still a couple years out. Talon thinks that that's going to be 2028, 2029. I do not think they're going to wait that long. I think 2026 to 2027 is when they're going to be looking to get that handheld out personally, as it's very likely something like a Steam Deck 2 would launch around that time, and the Nintendo Switch 2 will have been out for about 1.5 years to maybe 2 years by the time they get this off the ground. It'll give them some way to know, hey, this is what we need to compete with if we're bringing out a handheld. Continuing on, in the coming months, designers and engineers will focus on making the Xbox app work better on existing portable devices and partnering with hardware makers to make sure that their products sync with Xbox games and experiences, he said. The Xbox app right now is good rather than great on some of these gadgets, he said. And I will agree with that. Even on my PC, I absolutely hate the Xbox app. It is one of the worst performing apps just out there in the gaming space. Like, Epic is a little annoying. I've used Ubi Launcher, which is pretty annoying. All these other launchers, like Steam, just has it down, and Xbox really needs to work on building something to that level if they want any chance to compete with Steam in the future, especially in the handheld space where Steam Deck just makes it so easy. The Steam store is integrated into the OS perfectly. It works great in a remote setting. And if Xbox is trying to do a handheld where that Xbox app is a fundamental part of it, they're going to need to improve it quite a bit. Longer term, I love us building devices, Spencer said, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning and what's happening now. The company's planned online store for mobile games has been delayed as the group does additional research on the market, Spencer said. Xbox President Sarah Bond had announced the store in May with a planned release date of July, but staffers are still talking to mobile developers, including those responsible for Microsoft-owned Candy Crush and Call of Duty Mobile, to figure out a plan. As regulatory cases involving Apple Inc.'s iOS and Alphabet Inc.'s Android mobile stores work their way through the courts in various countries, Microsoft still doesn't have an effective way to get its own store on mobile phones. Yeah, we've heard a lot about these Apple and Google kind of like duopoly cases. And while I agree we do need more options, I don't see Microsoft really presenting an effective way to get people to move over. One of the things about the Google Play Store and the App Store on Apple devices is that both of those are so damned easy to use. They're integrated into those devices. And even if Microsoft is able to get those onto that, I don't see them making it as easy to use because they're not going to want Microsoft taking from their kind of slice of the pie that they have already. But this is not surprising, as Microsoft has had a lot of delays with just about everything. They tend to announce things really, really early and try and be ahead of the game, and that kind of does end up backfiring with games and gamers sometimes, right? We've been waiting for Fable as gamers for 4 years, and now it's going to be released next year, 2025. So we'll have to see how this goes for them in the long run. Continuing on, quote, "So a web store would mean somebody doesn't have to go into the App Store to try and install something, but you still have a way to find the store," end quote. Spencer said, quote, "If we're just hoping, like, if we build it, they will come, I'm going to bet that doesn't work," end quote. And he is right here. You have to entice people and you have to give them good service. Otherwise, that is not going to work out. We've seen tons of places try and open their own launchers, especially on PC. We see this all the time. Sony's rumored to be doing this, and I guarantee you it's very, very likely that that is going to fail as well, or at least not work out as well as they hoped, kind of like the Epic Store hasn't really worked as well as Epic had hoped, things like that. You can't just build something and go, hey, you have to get it here. Even if you have exclusives like Epic does, it's just not going to work out if you're not providing the best of the best experience. So moving on, that means Xbox has to make its store unique for players and figure out what will draw content creators. At the same time, it's preparing for a world where Apple and Google mobile devices are more open to Xbox. Quote, "I think the ball is moving in the right direction," Spencer said. "I think this idea of open platforms where users have more choice, creators have more choice, you see the momentum, right?" End quote. After releasing the first batch of Xbox games for Sony Group Corp's PlayStation and Nintendo companies Switch, Spencer is pleased with the results. Microsoft will do more of that, he said, and won't rule out any game in Microsoft's stable. Quote, "I do not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say, 'thou must not,'" he said. "It's too early to make any sort of decision on the next version of Halo," he said. And this right here is the most interesting thing for me as a gamer. There's some Xbox IPs that I really like. Fable and Halo are up there for me personally. And I know like Lemon, who's oftentimes collaborating with Talon for our weekly streams and other videos, he loves Gears, right? I know Talon loves Gears too, right? And I know other people who love Forza. There are some very cherished Xbox properties out there. And hearing that, hey, like, we're not going to say that anything's off the table for PlayStation. Me as a PlayStation owner, I just got a PlayStation Pro. I think that's pretty cool. Like, I can just wait for whenever they come to the PlayStation Pro, because as we've seen, more and more of their games are coming. We saw that Doom the Dark Age is going to come next year. We saw that Indiana Jones is going to come next year. And I guarantee with Satya Nadella kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes, right? He's the man behind the curtain right now. He's going, hey, we need to make more money on this. We gave you guys $77 billion, right, to make this acquisition or these acquisitions happen. So we need that money back. So we're going to sell our games everywhere. And unfortunately, that does kind of contradict with Phil's like, hey, let's make Bethesda games exclusive so that we have those and we can grow Xbox as a brand. If you want Bethesda, you got to come to Xbox. We heard him say that in the FTC trials, and now they're completely going against that, which is bad for Xbox as a brand in terms of being a platform. However, it is good for Microsoft as a brand and Xbox as a brand in terms of being a publisher, which is what it's looking like they're making a pivot to. Personally, give me Halo MCC. I'd be happy. If they want to do the Halo remake on PlayStation, I'd be happy. I'll probably play Indiana Jones on PC Game Pass. You know, it's coming out. I'm going to get it for Stalker 2 to try that out. And I'll still have it by the time Indiana Jones comes out. So there's 2 games in 1 month. That's a pretty sweet deal. I can't lie. And if those games are really, really enjoyable, I'll probably buy them on PlayStation because that's kind of what I do. If I find something good on PS Plus or on Game Pass while I'm playing, I'll buy it. I don't mind buying games at all. That's how I found Tunic. I've bought that game twice already, once on PlayStation, once on Steam. And same thing for Animal Well earlier this year. I do not mind spending money on good games. I just need to make sure that you're making good games. All right, so finishing up this article, following the Activision acquisition, Xbox cut more than 2,500 jobs and closed 3 game design studios, with the company exiting what management calls a difficult year amid a challenging mobile game market. Spencer feels good about 2025. The Xbox business has never been more healthy, he said, citing growth in cloud and PC gaming as well as console usage. The business is performing right now, and I think that means a more healthy future for hardware and the games we build. Spencer also said he's optimistic about the growth of mobile games. I feel pretty good about where this industry is going, he said. To reach new players, we need to be creative and adaptive of new business models, new devices, new ways of access. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. Now, that last little bit there, I do feel like that's a quick little jab at PlayStation and the PlayStation Pro. And I understand the PlayStation Pro is super expensive. A lot of people don't want to pay that much for a console. However, there are enthusiasts like me, like our buddy Lethal, and like my brother, who we play, PC games because we want that extra little bit of pop. And you don't have to pay as much for a PS5 Pro as you do for a PC, at least one that's going to perform with the same specs. I've talked a lot about how PCs are really open. You can do a lot. You can do emulation, you could do schoolwork, you could do video production, all that. And yeah, you're going to pay like twice as much to get a PC that'll perform the same as a PS5 Pro. But if you're someone who just games, the PS5 Pro is hands down the best way to just game. And again, it's half the price of a gaming PC that would get you about the same performance, at least half the price. That's if you're not splurging for nice versions of things. But that also signals that Xbox might not be making really top-end hardware anymore, which is a little disappointing. I've been one of those people who has been very adamant that I don't buy Xbox hardware. And the reason is I had a couple Red Ring of Death 360s, and you can say, oh, hey, that was like almost 20 years ago, man. But I'm one of those people who, if a brand like messes up with me, they don't get a chance unless they really earn it. Now, what they would have to have done to re-earn a chance with me would have been to make awesome games that I cannot get anywhere else. And they have not done that because, 6 years ago or so, they decided, hey, we're going to put every single thing we make on PC day one. I have a PC, and I always upgrade my PC every 2 to 3 years. I get a new CPU or a new GPU. I'm coming up on 5 years on this CPU this next year, so it's going to be time to replace that, I think. I got a new GPU about a year and a half ago maybe. So yeah, I always have a CPU and GPU upgrade coming every few years. And while it's expensive, it's also what I do this work and a lot of my other work on. So I might as well just play my Xbox games here. If they had console exclusives that did not go anywhere outside of the new Xbox, and they were really that good, I might consider buying an Xbox. But since they haven't done that, It's unfortunate because I can't justify any reason for myself to get an Xbox. And the fact that now they're putting things on Fire Stick, they're saying, hey, just play cloud on your phone, or I can play cloud on my Steam Deck if I want to through Game Pass Ultimate. All of this stuff means that I have less and less incentive than ever, in fact, to buy an Xbox console. And yeah, while it'd be cool to have like the controller and the console just sitting up on the wall, mounted on the wall behind my TV like my PlayStation, I can't justify spending $500 for something that I already have access to in so many different places. And I think Microsoft is starting to realize that. The ending of this article saying we're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles is them acknowledging we do not have an impetus to compete in this high-end console space anymore. We're not going to grow our market share with that. And I think they know that now because they've been trying everything desperately to get some sort of foothold back. And even with the release of Call of Duty, we had, sales in the last few weeks come out where they're still down year over year and even month over month, which is just, it's such a, I hate to be doom and gloom, but it's so hard to look at. Like, they have the biggest shooter franchise in the world and they're still losing hardware because they can't go like, hey, buy our hardware and play it on Game Pass, and like it's free, but people are looking and going, okay, so I have to buy a $500 console and I have to pay your $20 a month because now it's only on Ultimate. Why don't I just get it on my PlayStation or on my PC? Like, I'm not going to pay you for your console. So we're seeing the ramifications of the decisions they've made. And I think this is what is really driving this decision to put games everywhere. They know that's their way to making money, and they have really good IP now. They have Overwatch, Warcraft, StarCraft if they ever want to dip into that. They have everything ABK. They have Halo, they have Forza, they have Gears. They have so much stuff that they can do great things with. And I'm hoping they do because I'd be happy to give them my money for great games. I really want Fable to knock it out of the park. South of Midnight is also looking excellent. I am more hyped for that than anything I have been in a long time, maybe since Halo Infinite from Xbox. So here's hoping this publishing strategy is going to work out better for them. Again, let's say South of Midnight comes out and they're like, hey, we're going to put this on PlayStation after 6 months. I'll probably play through it on Game Pass. And then when it comes to PlayStation, get a PS5 Pro enhanced version for my PlayStation so I can play on the OLED and really see it in all its glory. But what do you think about this article and Xbox's decisions and Phil Spencer's comments here? Do you think they're going to try and really compete in that high-end hardware space? Because I personally do not think they're going to do that anymore. I think they're going to lean into mobile. I think they're going to lean into cloud because they know that's where we're going to be able to grow more than Sony. And cool, awesome for them if they want to do that. Are you okay with Xbox games going everywhere? If you're an Xbox console owner, are you all right with the fact that what used to be your exclusives, Halo, Forza, Gears, Fable, and now, things like Bethesda and ABK that you thought would probably be exclusive for you are going to be out everywhere? Is that okay for you? I'm just curious, as someone who invested in the Xbox ecosystem, how do you feel about that? Let us know in the comments down below. And again, everybody, I'm LittleBobby here with Direct Gaming. I do want to thank you for your time today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope we see you soon.